English?
Yeah, I'll use translation.
Okay. Mike, give me the mic.
Yeah.
This mic.
And then just give it to him.
Bring it to the streamer mic or this mic?
The two lords, Nitai, Gaur, Chandra, are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduce a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. My dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sex gratification. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Hare without any motive. My dear brother, just try to examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry when stones wilt. But Lotus Das regrets that I am entrapped by sense gratification. Since I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, then Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me and not allowing me to be attracted by this movement.
Okay. Brahmā-ādayaḥ Prabhu Dvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra Bahudvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra Sabha Avatar Shashi Ramani Kevalananda Kanda Shashi Ramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Shama Avatar Shashi Ramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Shudra Vishwashakori Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Shudra Vishwashakori Viśaya-charya Shera Shemajiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari 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 Dekho ore bhai Tribhuvane nai Emon doyal data 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 Pashu Pakhi Dhure Pashana Virare Shuni Chandra Gona Gatha Pashu Pakhi Dhure Pashu Pakhi Jhure Pashana Virare Shuni Jandra Gona Gatha
Pashu Pakhi Jhure Pashana Vidare Shuni Jandra Guna Gata
Sangsare Majia Rohili Puriya Shipadana Hilo Asha
Samsare Majia Rohili Puriya Shebare Nailo Asha
Sangsare Majia Rohili Puriya Shipadana Hilo Asha
Samsare Majia Rohili Puriya Shebare Nailo Asha
Apana karma bhunjai shaman kahoye lochana dasa
Apana karma Bunjai Shamana Kaoye Lochandasha
Apana karma bhunjai shaman kahoye lochana dasa Parama karuna bahudi jana Nitai Gora Chandra Parama karuna bahudi jana Nitai Gora Chandra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnu Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glorious assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glorious assembled devotees.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glorious assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glorious to Shri Guru, all glorious to Ranga, all glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu-vadaya Krishna Prasad Buddha Srimati Bhakti Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 14, Text 29 and 30. Word for word. Okay. Brahmā-ādayaḥ. Yat-kṛta-setu-pālāḥ. Yat-kāraṇaṁ. viśvam. Idam. Cha. Māyā. Ājñā-karī. How do you say it? ājñā-karī. Yasya. piśāca-caryā. vibhūmnaḥ. caritam. viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Please repeat.
Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā.
Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā.
Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā.
Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā.
ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā.
ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. Ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. Ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. Ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Brahmādayo yat-kṛta-setu-pālā. Yat-kāraṇaṁ viśvam idam ca māyā. Ājñā-karī yasya piśāca-caryā. Aho vibhūmnaś caritam viḍambanam. Okay, word for word. Brahmā-ādayaḥ. Demigods like Brahmā. Yat, whose? Krita, activities. Setu, religious rites. Pālāḥ, observers. Yat, one who is. Kāraṇam, the origin of. Viśvam, the universe. Idam, this. Cha, also. Māyā, material energy. Ājñā-karī, order carrier. Yasya, whose. Piśāca, devilish. Caryā, activity. Aho, oh my Lord. Vibhūmnaḥ, of the great. Caritam, character. Viḍambanam, simply imitation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Demigods like Brahmā also follow the religious rites observed by him. He's the controller of the material energy which causes the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. Purport. Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, the controller of the material energy. Durga is personified material energy, and Lord Shiva, being her husband, is the controller of the material energy. He is also the incarnation of the mode of ignorance, and one of the three deities representing the Supreme Lord. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very great, and his renunciation of all material enjoyment is an ideal example of how one should be materially unattached. One should therefore follow in his footsteps and be unattached to matter, not imitate his uncommon activities like drinking poison. I'm going to chant the text 30. Matreo vacha saivam samvidite bhardra manmaton mai tindriya jagraha vasho brahmarshir Rishaliva Gadadrapa. Translation. Maitreya said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage, just like a shameless public prostitute. Purport. The difference between a married wife and a public prostitute is that one is restrained in sex life by the rules and regulations of the scriptures, whereas the other is unrestricted in sex life, is conducted solely by the strong sex urge. Although very enlightened, Kashyapa, the great sage, became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is a strong force of the material energy. Oh my God. Hey Krishna Garina Sindatina Badotika Pateko Veshagopika Kantarada and Wasite Tapika Rangira Deva Domini Shri Vishapana Sute Devi Panamami Hari P. Montakapa Zupanchaki Pasinda Payavita Patitana Payo Shima Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Tinamini Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvasesha Sunivadi Pa Shati Desitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading the continuation of pregnancy of Diti in the evening. To chant the verse one more time. Demigods like Brahmā also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy which causes the creation of the material world. He is great and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation. So previous classes we've been talking about the position of Lord Shiva. His position is very unique and it's hard to understand him. We have gone through a number of points regarding his position, how there's two types of Shivas. Well, there's one Shiva, but his planet exists on the border of material and spiritual worlds. So this verse, I don't know why that's happening. But this verse is mainly dealing with, how do I go back? This verse is mainly talking about, so if you go to the previous verse, it talks about how foolish persons try to understand him, but they can't. Persons who are attached to their material situation in life can't understand Lord Shiva. What that to say of Lord Krishna? If you're attached to the material platform, you can't even understand basic spiritual subject matters. This is why Prabhupada always emphasized you're not the body. This is the first step in spiritual understanding. So what to say of trying to understand a personality like Lord Shiva? So he is a very exalted personality. And the certain thing I want to emphasize in this purport is a continuation of the last verse is one should not imitate his uncommon activities like drinking poison. So when we see great Vaishnavas, it's easy for us to try to imitate them. So there's a fine line between imitation and following the footsteps, right? When you imitate somebody, you are trying to portray yourself as if you were in a highly spiritual level when you really have no qualification to be on that level. But following the footsteps means following the process of sadhana bhakti, following the rules and regulations laid down by that person. And the purport is talking about how Lord Shiva, he is following the process of vidya and vairagya. He's has the knowledge of Krishna, Supreme Person of Godhead, and he's detached from all things material. This is what Lord Chaitanya came to preach. He came to preach this process of vairagya and vidya. So this is how we follow in the footsteps. We follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas and the predecessors by following their teachings. There are certain things that these great personalities do that we cannot imitate, right? I remember listening to one class in His Holiness Bhadravika Swami Maharaj he said one anecdote that I never heard before, that Srila Prabhupada sometimes at night, he would take this tobacco because he would get headaches. And he asked the servant to bring it in. He would take it because it helped with his headaches and it helped him concentrate so he can write his books at night. We shouldn't do that, though. Srila Prabhupada, he was doing this for the purpose of, for once, he's a Paramahamsa. He's not affected by material facilities or material drugs or whatever. But if we were to imitate Srila Prabhupada by doing that in the attempt of, oh, I need right spiritual literature, I'm getting headaches, let me just take some snuff, then we are fallen, we're a rascal. Same thing with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, he's Paraduka Duki. It says in that pastime, in the sixth canto of him drinking, no, that's the eighth canto, I apologize. In the eighth canto of him drinking poison, it was to save the fallen, it was save the souls. He's a Paraduka Duki. He took on that risk and that burden, and he was qualified to do so. But we cannot imitate. The second we try to imitate these great personalities, we become fallen, we become a rascal. So the process of imitating is is two Sanskrit words, ājñā-karī. Ājñā-karī means to falsely exhibit the great characteristics of these great personalities. And then you have ājñā-karī, very similar word, means to follow in the footsteps and take shelter. So by following the process of sadhana bhakti, this is how we take shelter of our spiritual master and the predecessor acharyas. Ultimately, we are all linked to the Guru Parampara through our Guru. And by following the process of sadhana bhakti, we can avail ourselves of the full mercy of the Guru Parampara. And I'm speaking more about that later, how we can't even cross the material world without the mercy of a higher personality. We need the mercy of our Guru to cross the bounds of the material nature. So, like it's in this verse, we should not imitate his uncommon acts like drinking poison, but we have to follow the process of sadhana bhakti. And in the Nectar Devotion, it's very interesting. It talks about this, okay, let's go to this. The process of sadhana, because one argument could be made. An argument could be made that, okay, we're in kirtan. Let me make this bigger. We're in kirtan, and they want me to dance in kirtan, but I'm not feeling any bliss. So I'm just imitating like a pure devotee. I'm just trying to dance, but I don't really have any bliss. Right? An argument can be made like that. I'm just imitating, so I'm not going to dance. Well, no, you have no understanding of the process of sadhana bhakti. Actually, in the 64 items of executing Krishna consciousness, dancing in kirtan is one of them. So you're not imitating great personalities, you're following the process of sadhana bhakti. And for devotees, I want to read this. It's very important to understand what this process of sadhana bhakti means. It's easy to get confused. What does it mean? Yes, it is, Shravana, Kirtan, hearing, chanting, remembering, but Rupa Goswami has delineated 64 items that are necessary for our advancement in Krishna consciousness, and Srila Prabhupada took on the task to delineate what these items are. I'm not going to go through all of them. However, I do want to go through these are the very first 6. The basic principles of sadhana bhakti are what? Accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, becoming initiated by the spiritual master, and learning how to discharge devotional service for him. Obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion, following the footsteps of the greatest acharyas or teachers under the direction of the spiritual master. The first 4 of practicing sadhana bhakti is understanding the position of the spiritual master and following him. And then Prabhupada makes the point that these 4 are the most important in executing Krishna consciousness. 5, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance. The first 5, how to advance in Krishna consciousness, being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaged in devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something that we may not like to give up. Also, we have to accept something that we may not like to accept. So these are very important, and I want to make a point that like Srila Prabhupada is saying, these 10 items are preliminary necessities for beginning the discharge of devotional service and regular principles. In the beginning, if a newbie devotee observes the above mentioned 10 principles, surely he will quickly make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So these first 10 are very important. And like I said, the first 5 deal with following the orders of the spiritual master. So it's very important, the process of sadhana bhakti. Ultimately, we're practicing sadhana. You can even argue, I'm waking up early, I don't really feel like it. I'm chanting my rounds, I don't feel like it. So you can argue this is an imitation as well. And actually, Guru Maharaj makes a point that sadhana bhakti is the process that you're training your mind and consciousness to be a pure devotee, and then naturally you can these things become spontaneous, they become natural. You want to wake up early, you want to chant the holy name of Krishna. It's not something forced, it's something that you do out of love, right? But because we're so conditioned and fallen, we have to follow these rules and regulations just so we can come to the platform of spontaneous loving service. So as I was saying, we should not imitate Krishna. We should not imitate these great personalities, but we should follow these principles. We should be. It's interesting. In one of them, 7, one should not be disrespectful to the demigods. So we shouldn't think, oh, Lord Shiva, he's just in, he's wearing, he has matted hair, and, he hangs out in a crematorium, and, he has ghosts and goblins as his followers. Well, this is not, this is disrespectful, and this will not help you in the process of Krishna consciousness. I was just reading that even Lord Chaitanya, when he was on his tour to South India, he visited the temple of Hanuman. Hanuman's not a demigod; he's a great servitor of Lord Rama. But he made the point that you should respect these great devotees. He also visited a temple of Lord Shiva, right? Not in the mood of asking for some material benediction, but in the mood of respecting great Vaishnavas. So we always have to respect the position of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is very unique. A Vaishnava is the highest personality in this universe, actually. A Vaishnava is very, very powerful. It's very powerful. There's a purport I'm going to read in a second. Even Lord Shiva is extolling the position of a Vaishnava. So we should never be envious of the Vaishnava. We should never be envious of the principles of Krishna consciousness. And I'm going to go to this. Let's go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. And in this verse I'm about to read, in the purport, Lord Shiva is mentioned many times how Prabhupada makes the point that even the Vaishnava is higher than the demigods. And it's not an easy thing. People think we're just a Vaishnava, right? Prabhupada, I think somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, if we're Vaishnavas, why do we need to implement Varnashram Dharma? And Prabhupada said, well, actually be a Vaishnava is not some cheap thing. If you're truly a Vaishnava, why? Prabhupada making the point, there's so many of my disciples are falling down, right? So to be a Vaishnava, we're aspiring to be Vaishnavas. Ultimately, in colloquial terms, yeah, we label ourselves as Vaishnavas, but actually become a Vaishnava is a great thing. It's just like saying, oh, I'm the president of the United States, right? That is a great position. And the president takes pride in that position. Ultimately, I've mentioned this before in one of my other classes, that we should have pride actually in being a servant of our guru. This is the only way that we can have pride. Pride in the material is detrimental unless it's employed with in relation to the spiritual master. Actually, you should have pride of being a disciple of your spiritual master. You should have that pride. That pride should be there, right? Just like Hanuman. Hanuman, he was in Lanka. Lord, at first he let the Rakshasas, he let them take him, and insulting, he wanted to see the city. And then once they started to humiliate him, he said, wait, what am I doing? I'm a servant of Lord Rama. How dare these low-class Rakshasas, how dare they try to humiliate me? I'm a servitor of Lord Rama. He portrayed the spiritual pride, and he's glorious for that. But it's a thin line. It is a thin line of having, oh, yes, I am a great disciple of my guru. You have to have some intelligence in employing it, obviously. You should have some intelligence. But the point is, you should understand the position of a Vaishnava is not a cheap thing. So in this verse, there's a conversation between Sri Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Ramananda Roy, out of all glorious activities, what is the most glorious? Ramananda Roy replied, that person who is reputed to be a devotee of Lord Krishna enjoys the utmost fame and glory. So I'm going to go through this. This is very ecstatic. I'm not going to chant all the some Sanskrit verses just for the sake of time, because I have some other points I'm going to go through, but I'm going to read through this for a little bit. So the greatest reputation a living being can have is to be a devotee of Krishna and to act in Krishna consciousness. In the material world, everyone is trying to be famous by accumulating large bank balance. There is steady competition amongst karmis attempting to advance in a wealthy society. The whole world is turning in accordance with that competitive mood, but this kind of name and fame is temporary, for it lasts only as long as a temporary material body exists. One may become famous as a Brahma Gyani, an impersonal scholar, or one may become a materially opulent person. In either case, such reputations are inferior to the reputation of Krishna's devotee. And Garuda Purana is said, in this age of Kali, the fame of one who is known as a great devotee is very rare. However, such a position is superior to that of the great demigods like Brahma and Mahadev. That is the opinion of all spiritual masters. We're just reading about the position of Lord Shiva. We're just reading about how great of a personality is. But it's saying that the position of a devotee is higher than that of Mahadev. And we think that it's such an easy thing to be a Vaishnava. I'm going to skip through this a little bit. Until now, even the great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva did not know the influence of devotee. It is said that out of thousands of brahmanas, one is qualified to perform sacrifices. Many thousands of such qualified brahmanas experience sacrificial offerings. One learned brahmana may have passed beyond all Vedic knowledge. He considered the best among all these brahmanas. And yet, out of thousands of such brahmanas who have surpassed Vedic knowledge, one person may be a Vishnu Bhakta, and he's the most famous. Out of many thousands such Vaishnavas, one who is completely fixed in the service of Lord Krishna is most famous. Indeed, a person who is completely devoted to the service of the Lord certainly returns back to Godhead. And Lord Shiva says, it was Lord Shiva who said, we're speaking of Lord Shiva, we're speaking of the glories of Lord Shiva, his position. What does he say? I do not know the truth about Krishna, but the devotee of Lord Krishna knows all the truth. Of all the devotees of Lord Krishna, Pālāḥ is the greatest. Above Prahlad, the Pandavas are supposed to be more advanced. Above the Pandavas are the members of the Yadu dynasty, who are even more advanced. In the Yadu dynasty, Uddhava is further advanced. Above Uddhava are the damsels of Rajadam, the gopis themselves. So the point I'm making is that everybody is so ambitious to be great in this material world. But the greatest ambition is to be a humble servant of Krishna. This is the greatest ambition, is to be a humble servant of the Lord. And when people don't even realize what it means to be humble in order to be a servant. But this is the greatest ambition. Why? Even Mahadev, Lord Shiva, extolling the position of the devotee, because the devotee can enjoy the bliss, knowledge, and eternality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others cannot. Others do not understand who Krishna is. Others do not know who God is. Especially in this age of Kali Yuga, people are bewildered following different religious systems, not realizing that the ultimate self-interest is to surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Even higher than that is to surrender to the lotus feet of a bona fide guru and to follow his footsteps. We should not compromise with the instructions of the guru. The second you compromise the instructions of the guru, then there's disaster not only in the society, but in the Vaishnava society, but you're creating disaster in modern society as well. So you see Prabhupada's disciples, he told his sannyasis, be careful with associating with women. They compromised, and you see what happened. And the thing is, Prabhupada was I was reading this in the Mood and Mission, Prabhupada was very, very stern about maintaining the reputation of the Krishna consciousness movement. And Prabhupada made a point that devotees, they will get the greatest reputation as long as we act properly. And Prabhupada was very keen on making sure we have a good reputation. Although we don't necessarily care about the opinions of materialists on the highest sense. Nonetheless, because we have this spiritual organization in the material world, we have to operate in the material world. And we should maintain a decent reputation. But the second you deviate and compromise the instructions of the spiritual master, your reputation becomes spoiled. So this is very important. This is very important. In the process of sadhana bhakti, like I said, this is a very important point. We have to follow the rules and regulations and not imitate. We can try to imitate Lord Shiva like we're being in a highly advanced platform, but we're only inviting death. We're only inviting our own downfall. So the devotee is very advanced. The devotee is in a position where he can deliver the whole universe if he wants to. The six Goswamis is mentioned that they can deliver a universe if they wanted to. They're so powerful. So, in the verse I'm reading today, that's kind of the main point, is that we have to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, and we have to discriminate between imitation and following. And if you have any question about that, you should read chapter 6 of the Nectar of Instruction, where Rupa Goswami Srila Prabhupada is telling us how to execute the process of Krishna consciousness on the footsteps of the acharyas. So I'm going to go to the next verse. 3, I think around 14, 20. So we're on 30. So on the same point of the position of the great Acharya. So in this verse, it kind of shifts gears a little bit, because you gotta understand. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, they sometimes, it's not confusing, but it's sometimes a story within that story. It kind of goes back to the overarching story. The overarching story is Diti is pressing her husband Kashyapa for sexual intercourse at an improper time, and Kashyapa is mentioning Lord Shiva, his position, as an argument why he shouldn't have sex with her at that inappropriate time. So this is kind of going back to what Maitreya said. I want to, before I speak on certain things, I was just speaking on the position of a Vaishnava, right? And this is, although enlightened, Kashyapa. So Kashyapa Muni, we had been talking about his great mistake. We've been talking about how he made a great blunder by falling into sex allurement by his wife. Nonetheless, before I speak on his great mistake, we should speak on that he is a great Vaishnava. Who is Kashyapa Muni? And who else? Okay, yes, but even more important, he's a father of Brahmādayo. Kashyapa Muni is a father of Krishna. He's not some ordinary personality. Like, it's easy. Yeah, Kashyapa, what is this guy? Just like has sex. What's wrong with him? He's a father of Krishna. It just sees that before I speak on his mistake, we should recognize his position. Kashyapa Muni is not some ordinary personality. He's not. He's a great personality. And actually, it's spoken of right here. Srimad Bhagavatam 8, 17, 23. Okay. I don't know why he does that. Okay, so it talks about Kashyapa Muni. O king, as the wind promotes friction between two pieces of wood and thus gives rise to fire, Kashyapa Muni, whose transcendental position was fully absorbed in the Supreme Person of Godhead, transferred his potency in the womb of Aditi. So, all right, Kashyapa Muni, he had 13 wives. He married the daughters of Daksha. Okay, two of his daughters, one is Diti, one is Aditi. Okay, through Aditi, demons were produced. He is a progenitor. It was his duty to beget progeny. Through Diti, demons were born. But through Aditi, the Supreme Person of Godhead came through that. And in Krishna book, it's mentioned how Krishna was so pleased because of Kashyapa Muni in his previous birth. He performed severe austerities. And because of that, Krishna was able to take birth in his previous incarnation than him, and then the next one as Vasudeva. So Kashyapa Muni, even though he made a great mistake, even though his mistake led to the birth of great demons, we should still not belittle his position as a great Vaishnava. If anybody here thinks they're greater than Kashyapa Muni, please stand up and we'll wash your lotus feet. But yes, Kashyapa Muni is a very great Vaishnava, but even he was allured by the sexual attraction of his wife. And because of that, these great demons were born. So that just shows that we have to be very, very careful when it comes to lust. This lust is very, very dangerous. It's very, very powerful. It burns like fire. It can never be satisfied. Avritam Gyana Metina, Ganino Nitavarina, Kamarupina, Konteya, Dusparin Analinacha. It burns like fire. No matter how much you try to satisfy this sexual urge, it will never be satisfied. It burns like fire. And Avritam Gyana Metina, it covers your consciousness. It covers your identity. It completely bewilders you to the purpose of life. So even while practicing the process of sadhana bhakti, this lust is always creeping in on us. And even if you can say, as far as my sexual desire, it's not as bad. But that's just your first mistake, because it manifests in different ways. Lust not only meaning sexual pleasure, but it can also mean just wanting fame and glory. I just read that a Vaishnava is greatly glorious and he enjoys the greatest reputation. Doesn't mean we should aspire for that. That's lust. That's lust. If you want to be a Vaishnava just so you can aspire for material accolades, then that's lust. And you're opening the doors to your own downfall. So yes, this lust caused, even though Kashyapa Muni it says, although he was very enlightened, the great sage became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is a strong force of material energy. Material energy is so powerful. You know, it's Durga. We just mentioned that point. The material energy is Durga. But how can we overcome this Durga? Mat chitta sarva durgani, mat chitta sarva durgani, mat prasada tarishasi, atat chittam ahankaran, nashosashi vinangshasi. So, in this verse that I just quoted, Durga is mentioned that like it's like a fort. Material energy can keep you in the it kind of looks like a fort, right? And we're all bound by the ropes of Durga. And we were reading that Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, and he's powerful. He's more powerful than his wife. And she's very powerful, but nonetheless, when we surrender, so when we become bewildered by our false ego, we can never overcome the material nature. As long as we think that we're some great devotee, as long as we think that we're some great personality, we will never come out of the clutches of illusion. However, with those who surrender to Krishna, they can cross over the material energy without a doubt. But those who neglect to hear the orders of spiritual master, what happens? They become lost. Those who don't hear Krishna, those who don't follow his instruction, you become finished. Back into the material world you go. So this lust is very powerful, right? And the thing is, it's mentioned in the translation that the wife, Kashyapa, Diti, grabbed onto his dhoti like a shameless prostitute. So, like a shameless, the thing is, she's in married life, and within married life, she is still chaste to her husband because it's not like she's having sex with all these other men, but because she is like a prostitute is because she wasn't following the rules and regulations of the scriptures. And Prabhupada making the point that like when you follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures and you're restricted in sex life, then you become exalted. When you don't, when you conduct lust and sex desires, based on the strong sex urge, then yeah, you become fallen. You become a debauchee, even in that realm of household life, you know. And within the realm of household life, there's still rules and regulations you have to follow. If not, you become a debauchee. It's a thin line between a grihasa and grihamedi. It's a very thin line. We have to become Paka Vaishnavas by following the rules and regulations. So lust is very powerful, and is mentioned as far as this prostitute, public prostitute, is interesting because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, name some famous prostitutes that you guys know from the Srimad Bhagavatam or Vedic literatures. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. Pingala. Anybody else? Jamu's wife, yeah. Chintamani. Yeah, Chintamani. Not in the Bhagavatam, but she's mentioned. Prabhupada mentions her in the purport in the Bhagavatam, but I don't think the actual story. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot. But anyways, the point is, Pingala. I'm glad you mentioned that. She's a famous prostitute in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I'm not gonna go through the whole story for time's sake. But one thing that I remember reading that very stuck out from that story, she says, from disappointment could come that greatest happiness. So the story and the synopsis, for those who don't know, she was a prostitute, and one night she was very excited to enjoy sex life for money. And one day she was standing outside trying to pick up men. Nobody would come to her. She was confused. Why? Nobody's coming to me. She was very excited. Oh, this must be the man that's going to come and enjoy sexual life with me. He didn't come. Oh, this must be the guy. He didn't come. And then she was standing there, and she started to think, wow, I was very excited about sex life, but I'm very disappointed. And then one of the purports Prabhupada makes from disappointment can come the highest happiness. So she realized, I'm sitting outside being eager for sex life, but ultimately this is not even making me happy. But service of Vishnu, Krishna, this will make me happy. So she gave it up. She was disappointed in her sexual activities, and she gave it up. So from disappointment could come the highest level of happiness. Nonetheless, that's more or less for the less intelligent. Probably makes the point that there's 3 levels of intelligence. The lowest level of intelligence, they have to kind of go through, not the lowest, well, okay. The highest intelligence is you tell somebody not to do something, they hear it, they won't do it. Under that, you tell somebody not to do something, they hear it, but they still have the urge. So they're like, okay, I know I shouldn't do it, but I haven't really experienced that suffering, so let me go experience it. I know I'm going to suffer, but let me experience the suffering so I know I want to do it again. I fall in that category. I made that mistake a lot. And then they stop. They're like, okay, I engage in that. I'm disappointed. I'm bewildered. I'm done, right? Lower than that is the person you tell him not to do it. You tell him sex life leads to misery. He hears it. He does it. He experiences dissatisfaction and does it again. Prabhupada said this person is classified as a madman. This is literally the definition of insanity. No, literally the definition of insanity is doing the same thing expecting a different result. But the material energy is such, it bewilders us. We think we're getting a different result. Maybe if I enjoy it like this, it'll be better. Frustrated. If I enjoy it like this, it'll be frustrated. The result is always going to be frustration. Nonetheless, the material energy is so powerful that it makes us forget. We forget our disappointment. But nonetheless, back to the point of Pingala, I want to make a quick point that Pingala, the difference between her and those who are not in the Vedic culture, although she was a prostitute, she was still in the realm of Vedic culture, so she was able to remember, oh, I do remember Krishna, why am I not surrendering to Krishna? Nowadays, we have prostitutes, we have debauchees, they're being frustrated, but they don't know Krishna. It's very unfortunate. They don't know Krishna. So they're not in the realm of Vedic understanding, so that's why they're disappointed, but they don't know where else to turn. And because they don't have nowhere else to turn, that is why we, as a Christian conscious movement, that is why it's up to us to step in. The people are very disappointed. If there's one word to describe modern society, it's unhappy. People are unhappy and they're frustrated. Nonetheless, it's up to us. Ultimately, the degree of somebody advancing Christian consciousness is their compassion upon others. And they see how others are suffering and they want to go and they want to help them. They want to give them something to relieve them of their suffering. And this is a symptom of somebody who's advanced. They want to go and they want to relieve people of their suffering. Like I said, in Pingala, she had the Vedic culture safety net. So many people don't have that. So ultimately, who can protect you from lust? Can you protect yourself from lust? Today, I'm going to protect myself from falling down. I'm going to chant my rounds good. Yes, I'm going to cross over material energy. Can you protect yourself? No, you can't. Only who can protect you? Krishna. That's the only means of overcoming the material energy, actually, is the mercy of Krishna. Yes, you should endeavor, but your endeavor is not enough. Without the mercy of Krishna, your endeavor becomes futile. Only by the mercy of God can you overcome the strong material energy. Krishna makes this point. So we were just reading earlier that Lord Brahma, even he's the Acharya, he's the founder of our Sampradaya, he's the Acharya of our Sampradaya. Even he was bewildered by lust. What did Prabhupada say? We just read this actually maybe a month ago. Lust for sexual intercourse is so strong that it appears herein that Brahma cannot be dissuaded from his determination despite the appeal of his great sons like Marichi. Therefore, the great sons prayed to the Supreme Lord for the good sense of Brahma. This is very important. It is only by the grace of the Supreme Lord that one can be protected from the allurement of lusty material desires. That's it. It is only by the grace of Krishna that we can be protected. But the Lord gives the protection to those who are always engaged in his service. And by his causeless mercy, he forgives. Even if you do fall down, by his causeless mercy, he will reinstate you in your position. There's another ecstatic verse. It talks about how by the mercy of Krishna, we can be saved. By the mercy of God, we can be saved from our lusty propensities. It's a very ecstatic verse in the second canto. But anyone who is specifically favored by Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person in Godhead, how do you become favored? How do you become specifically favored by Supreme Person in Godhead? Due to unalloyed surrender. Then you receive the mercy. By surrendering without hesitation, then you get the mercy. Then you can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion. However, those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. But so as long as you're attached to the body, then how can you expect the mercy of Krishna? Krishna gives his mercy in different ways. Let me rephrase that. Krishna will give his mercy sometimes to those who are struggling with the sex desire he will give them a situation where they will suffer for it and they will give it up voluntarily. But for those who decide to be more intelligent and realize, okay, I don't want to go through that suffering, I just want to surrender to Krishna, he will save you, and he'll do it by removing your lusty desires. He will do it. You will get the mercy. So ultimately, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, he says, I know when I've got the full mercy of my guru, when the materialistic people abuse me as being mad and throw dirt on me. This is, wow. This is a very high level of Krishna consciousness. I know I am getting the benediction, the mercy of Krishna, when the materialists no longer wanna invite me to their parties. I know I'm getting the mercy of Krishna when the materialists no longer want to associate with me because I'm preaching some spiritual philosophy. I know I'm getting the mercy of Krishna when these lusty persons don't want to associate with me anymore. You know you're getting the mercy of Krishna when you have the association of devotees. The highest benediction you can have is actually the mercy, as the association of devotees, and we take it for granted actually. But this is Krishna's mercy on us. So ultimately, to go back, because I'm going to wrap it up for a little bit, this sex desire is very strong. And the reason why we are attracted to it because we think there's some type of pleasure in it, right? But ultimately, people are aloof and they're ignorant of the highest pleasure one can have. I was just reading in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that even in the highest stage, in the conjugal relationship with Radharani, she says that there's something even higher than her being enjoyed by Krishna. Even higher than her being enjoyed by Krishna in the highest level of in that rasa, there's something higher than even her being enjoyed by Krishna. Do anybody know what it is? It's seeing other people being enjoyed by Krishna. She says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that she gets more pleasure when she sees other people being enjoyed by Krishna than she gets by being enjoyed by Krishna. Wow, right? So we should not try to enjoy Krishna consciousness. We should not seek, okay, this is for my enjoyment. I'm going to enjoy the holy name. I'm going to enjoy this activity. No. The highest enjoyment actually is facilitating Krishna consciousness for others. This is the highest bliss. It's Sankirtan. That's all Sankirtan is. You're giving Krishna to other people. This is the highest nectar, right? And we shouldn't even go out of the Sankirtan in the mood of, yes, I'm going to enjoy this today. I'm going to enjoy the Harinam. And then you might get some enjoyment. You might get some type of bliss from that. But there's something even higher than that. It's not going in that attitude. It's going in that attitude, I'm doing this as a service. I'm doing this to bring others to Krishna. Naturally, bliss comes as a byproduct, right? And when you're going out, ultimately the materialists, they have a strong desire to be in the material world. And my Guru Maharaj gave one trick on how to do a lot of books. And he said that your desire to give them Krishna needs to be higher than their desire to be in Maya. If your desire to give them Krishna is stronger than desire to be in Maya, then you can always do books. I had practical realization of this, actually. Your desire and our desires need to be purified. We have to have pure desires when we go out and do this activity of preaching. So we can overcome the ocean of material existence by service. And it starts with the holy name. We're reading in Lord Shiva. He says in the Rudra Gita, Artalingaya nabase namo antar mahamane namaha punyaya lokaya mushmaya marivarsha say. How you say it? What is it? You remember this? I think it's, yeah. What's the last line? Artalingaya nabase namo antar mahamane namaha punyaya lokaya mushmaya marivarsha say. So Lord Shiva says in the Rudra Gita, I'll pull it up so I don't butcher it. But he extols the power of chanting Krishna's name. He doesn't say chant my name. You know, these Shiva Bhaktas, these Shaivites, they try to chant Om Shivaya Namaha. But Lord Shiva is saying there's something higher than that. Lord Shiva says, Artalingaya Nabase Namo Antar Mamane Namaha Puneya Lokaya Mushmaya Puri Varsase. He says, my dear Lord, by expanding, he's talking to Krishna, by expanding your transcendental vibrations, you reveal the actual meaning of everything. You are the all-pervading sky within and without, and you are the ultimate goal of pious activities executed both within this material world and beyond it. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you again and again. But this is the point I'm making. By expanding your transcendental vibrations, you reveal the actual meaning of everything. So what does that mean? By chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can understand how we can get out of the clutches of illusion. Kashyapa, ultimately, he fell allurement to his wife because he forgot Krishna. He forgot his position, and he forgot Krishna. The second we forget Krishna, we become victim to Maya. That's why the process of Krishna consciousness is to be conscious of Krishna 24 hours a day. But it might be mechanical in the beginning, but ultimately it is blissful. Consciousness of Krishna is not... Like, if you're conscious of, like, your job, it's miserable. Oh, my God, I got to work today. I got to wake up. I got to see these horrible people. It's miserable. You're conscious of your family sometimes. Oh, my God, I got to go home, deal with these ingrates. You know, it's like being conscious of things that are material cause you to suffer. So you think, oh, my God, how can I be conscious of God all the time? It can't, because we think because we're conscious of so many material things, by being conscious that it leads to suffering, so we equate that same thing to God. But when we actually are conscious of God and Krishna, it is blissful. Every second of our day is blissful. We wake up, we're dancing for the Lord. We're chanting His holy name. You know, we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. We're taking prasadam. I was thinking about that. Whoa, like I was just like we was all taking prasadam the other day, and I was just seeing, like, you know, this is literally Krishna, and we're all, you know, have a plate, and this is Krishna in front of us, and we're all like taking the mercy of Krishna. And it just dawned on me, like, wow, this is like blissful. You know, I don't know. Sometimes it's like little things in Krishna consciousness you kind of take for granted. It's like, oh my Krishna, like I'm around devotees, and we're taking prasham together, and we're laughing. Like, what is better than this? There's nothing better than this. So we should seek the association of devotees. We should seek to serve the association of devotees, and we should seek to follow the process of sadhana bhakti and not imitate. By trying to imitate, we become allured by this sex desire. We will become victim to sex desire. But nonetheless, like I said, by surrender to Krishna, by full surrender to His lotus feet, we can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. Kashyapa is a great personality. Even he was, he fell down, right? But he's still a great personality. We shouldn't berate him. He's a great personality, right? But if he falls down, what to say about us? How much more careful do we have to be? Okay, so I'm in my class now, and I'll open up for any comments, discussions, chastisement, anything like that.
Hare Krishna. So it's an interesting point that we see come up multiple times. Prabhupada will say from Lord Brahma down to the ant, always describing these pangs in the material world, that even the demigods are also afflicted by the same problems, of course, that we are. And it's, of course, whenever we hear this pastime, specifically Lord Brahma giving up, he ends up giving up his body, or his mentality, more specifically, when he's attracted to his own daughter, and just we see just the strength of this this sex desire. Anyways, I like the points you made, because it's very easy to forget that Prabhupada says multiple times that everybody within the material world is afflicted by this sex desire. Lust is so strong.
Yeah.
And it is us in our lowly positions, the minute we start to think that we're above it and that we surpassed it, especially by dint of our own efforts, you're making yourself actually more susceptible to fall down to those same things. So, just easily overlooked point that comes up so many times when you really like meditate upon it, especially when it comes up in pastimes like this. It's like, wow, like this.
Yeah. And it's
Anybody,
like, yeah.
even great personalities like Kashyap.
Yeah, and it's interesting because those who are actually great, like Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he writes how fallen he is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he always is talking about how he's a gross materialist, and how can you even like, whoa, like these are like acharyas, these are great personalities, and they're saying how fallen they are. And we think because we've like been in Krishna conscious for some years, whatever, that we're some great personality, and it's easy. It's just like I have to catch myself all the time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you kind of have to catch yourself getting puffed up, because it gets to a point where like it gets to a point like in the beginning when you're like a bhakta, they'll be like, bro, you like puffed up, like chill out. But then you kind of go on for some time. Nobody really checks you like that. They will check you sometimes, but then ultimately you have to kind of like be introspective. It's very important to be introspective and to see what hangups you have, and always kind of analyze your propensities. I try to do this a lot, actually, just analyze, okay, why did I act like that? Why did I react in this situation? It's because ultimately, yeah, I still have my hangups of lust, or I still have my hangups of thinking myself a great personality or whatever. I mean, that's kind of, well, a lot of our problems come from that, actually. Like, so, yeah, it's a dangerous situation we're in. But, yeah, by the mercy of Krishna, we can overcome it.
I wanted to learn about the context of how Lord Shiva talked about Prahlad Maharaj.
I think, I'm not sure where that was. So that was just in a purport. I don't want to speculate, but I remember reading something, but I'm not actually sure where that was. I don't know if it was in the Mahabharata. I'm not really sure where that was. Yeah, I can go back to it. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it was in the Bhagavatam? Oh.
We were reading it the other day. Narada Muni, he was going around, he went to Brahma and he was glorifying him, and then Brahma said, go to Shiva, he's better than me. And then he was glorifying Shiva, and Shiva said, go to Prahlad, he's greater than me.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually he ends up going to like the gopis, I think. It goes higher.
Do you remember?
And that's how it's established, like this, this level's high. We're reading that. It was just recently. I don't know.
Oh, I see. That was in you said the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Oh, okay.
It's not on this app. It's on the. It's kind of hard to find. It's on.
It's mentioned here. I just want to see what Purana it comes in when they mention it here. Okay, yeah, right here. So this was in the. Wait, what? It was what Shiva said. I don't know. It doesn't even say it. Above, it just says that there's similar verses in Bhagavatam, but it doesn't say like where exactly that comes in.
It says down here that it was Lord Shiva who said, "I don't know."
Right, but I was trying to figure out like what verse or Purana that comes from.
Maybe one of those verses.
Yeah, it probably is one. I don't remember in the Bhagavatam though, like Krishna.
I mean, if they're glorifying Lord Prahlad, maybe check the 7924 one.
I don't remember Lord Shiva being that.
That was his own prayers.
Yeah.
Only Prahlad's going, "I'm the greatest."
Yeah. So I don't know. I can do some research though, Prabhu. I'm not 100% sure what the context of this was, but I mean I think Ali Krishna Prabhu is right that it comes in that Brihad Bhagavatamrita. I haven't gone through that yet, so I can't give you a full response.
But it was interesting to learn about Shiva said go to gopis,
No, he said go to Prahlad.
and then
Said go to
the
Prahlad.
context is
Prahlad sent him somewhere else.
oh.
Narada Muni.
Yes. So there are very less mentions that I learned, which was very interesting to learn, was the Shiva's recommendations of, hey, you do this. So I heard from somewhere that Lord Shiva also wanted to see Ras Leela,
Yeah, yeah.
but
yeah.
he couldn't.
He
and
couldn't
so
have
he
intimacy,
disguised
right.
himself as a gopi
Right, right.
to experience.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. We talked about in the previous class. Yeah, he can even Lakshmi Devi herself also. She's still doing penances to this day. To this day, Lakshmi is still doing penances just so that she can get to that platform, that Ras. But because she still has a mood of worshiping Krishna and awe and reverence, she won't be able to attain it. But yeah, it's an interesting point how devotees can be have a position even. I mean, it's mentioned though. Lord Krishna says that even more dear than me than Lakshmi Devi, more dear than Brahma, Shiva, more dear is you, Uddhava, my devotee. So Krishna says that my devotee is more dear to him. Krishna's devotee is more dear to him, even more than Lakshmi Devi, or even Lord Shiva. So yeah, Krishna really loves his devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? No? Mataji? No. Okay, I guess we 3 minutes early, but Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Check out, but